Hi guys, welcome to Prototypo webinar number 2, which will be the same thing as number 1. We'll focus on creating two fonts, one with a lot of manual editing and another one where we will create three variants, starting from the regular and using individualization groups to create a bit of a serif. I'll go and start on the first font, and I'll explain what I'm using and what you can use in Prototypo to create your font. So we're gonna start by making a display font, focusing on these 5 letters, which will be greatly suited to a logotype or stuff like that. So I already started and created a font from Prototypo Elsevier, and by going into the breadcrumbs and add new family. So I chose Prototypo Elsevier and type my name and click on create family. So right now I'm gonna use the parameters, which are on the left, and they are divided into four tabs. The first is the functional tab, and it deals with the basic shape of the letter, like the height, capital height, and the width, slant, like basic shape stuff. And on each parameters you can look at what it does by clicking on the question marks, and you can reset to the initial value by clicking on reset. So the style tab deals with the strokes basically, and you can change the thickness of the strokes. You can change the aperture, which is how open is the letter, the contour shape of the letter, like you can see on the E right now. You can also change the curviness, and optic thickness is the thickness of the capital letter. And the serif tab deals with serifs. I'm not going to go into detail about what everything does, but we'll use some of the serif parameters in the next font. There's also the setting tabs, which deals with more advanced parameters like spacing and diacritic position. This is the functional parameters for the small caps, which you can like that. So if I change the small cap height, it will change the small cap height. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and make my font a bit thicker, like that. And then I go right ahead and remove the serif. I could change the parameters and make really small serifs like that, but you can also go into the Glyph view right there, and there's a toolbar at the top of the Glyph view, and the second tool is the component tool, and with that you can remove serifs from Glyphs. So I'm gonna click on it and go to the component and click on the component, and there's a menu, and you can click on none and it removes the serif. So I'm gonna do that for the M, so the A, and now I'm gonna change to the M glyph. To change glyph you can use the glyph list, like right here, and choose M, and I'm gonna go ahead and remove the serif on the M. want to move my glyph, I cannot when I'm in component none, but I can press the spacebar and drag the glyph around. I'm gonna go and change the G, but I'm not gonna use the glyph list. I can click on the letter, now it's in green, and type G cap, and now I changed the G. I'm gonna click outside of the box to get out of the choosing glyph mode, and I'm gonna remove the serif again. Same for the I. Same for the C. Alright. I'm going back to the M. I'm gonna want to make my font a little bit more contrasty, but it's not available in the parameter, so I'm gonna go ahead and use the manual editing, which is the third tool in the Glyph toolbox, and I'm gonna zoom, and now I clicked on I click on the skeleton point, which is the empty square, and I have different tools that appeared. I can change the angle of the stroke using the arc circle right here. I can change the distribution of the skeleton by using the arrow, which moves the skeleton on the stroke. I can also undo all my change by clicking on the green circle with the undo arrow. And I can also change the thickness of the stroke by clicking on the blue point. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to make it pretty thin, and I'm going to press space and move onto the low point and do the same thing. I'm checking the world view to see how it looks from the whole shape, and I'm going ahead and make the same thing for the third stroke. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing for the A. Same thing for the crossbar. It's a bit thin. I can double click anywhere in the view, it will reset the view, and I can see the whole shape like that. I'm gonna turn and change the angle of the right-handed stroke, because this point is outside now my first stroke, so I'm gonna change the angle a little bit. Right there is fine. So this is for the A. So for the G it's a bit more complicated, because I have to add contrast to the curved point, and I want to make it a bit more closed. So I'll go in and do that right after. So I'm not super happy with the shape on the, so I'm gonna lower this point and change the direction. I can change the direction of the curve point by clicking on it and dragging it. Change the direction and change a bit the angle. This is way better. I'm gonna do the same thing in the bottom. Too much, but everything is fine. Okay. So there's basically nothing to do with the eye, and I can go ahead and do the C right now. So I'll do the same thing that I did with the G. And right now I'm pretty happy with the manual editing that I've done. I'm gonna remove the glyph view so that my one view at the top is a little bit bigger, and I can still play with the parameter because most of them works pretty okay depending on even with manual modification, like the thickness works pretty okay. I would have to change a bit the G at the bottom, and I think I could play with the X height or different stuff like that. The crossbar, maybe make a crossbar a bit higher, and yeah, just different stuff to change after you've made your manual modification. So yeah, I think that's basically it for the display font. It looks okay, and we're gonna go ahead and make 3 variants using the grotesque font. Alright, since this will be more a text font, I'll go ahead and display the text view, the third view on the top bar, and I'm gonna start by adding serifs. So to add serifs to the grotesque font, all you have to do is change the parameter for the serifs and add some serif width and serif height. I'm gonna add a little bit of bracket curve. I can show you what bracket curve does. Not really, maybe. Oh, yeah. Just go. Bracket curve change the base shape of the serifs by adding a curve to the serif where it attached to the stem. And so I'm gonna work on another subset of glyphs because it would be to do everything. So I'm gonna work on all these glyphs. I'm gonna make the serif a bit thinner. And the first thing I want to do is serif on the earth I'm gonna remove because it doesn't look super good with this this serif width. I could also leave serifs, and I could go and add a new group, which would be S serifs. I'm going to just call it serif and choose the S. So to create group, you can just go in the third breadcrumbs and add new groups, or you can also use the button on the top bar, groups of glyphs, and create a new group. So I'm gonna work on this serif group, and I'm gonna add a lot of height. So for individualization, there is two modes. The first one is a factor mode, where we multiply the base parameter by the value here. So right now it's 1, so it doesn't change, and you can go to 1.5, but you can also go a lot higher. And there's an absolute mode where it just adds to the base value. So I'm gonna go and second this and add a lot of curve. Circle. Okay, I think that's fine. I'm gonna change, so I'm gonna go ahead and create another group for the letters with ascender. So that would be L, D, and H. So ascender. And since I want a bit more contrast between the cap letters and ascenders, I'm gonna lower the ascender a bit, and that would be fine. I'm also gonna create a group for the crossbar, for the A, and I'm gonna lower, a bit higher, not too much, just right. So, okay, I'm gonna try and add the C and the G, because they also have a curve serif to this group. and see how it goes. Okay, it's fine with me. And also gonna go back just one serif. So alright, from this variant, which I'm quite happy with, I'm gonna duplicate it and make a scene variant. So I'm gonna go back, and so I click on the collection icon right there, and I'm gonna click on webinar 2 regular, and duplicate. I'm gonna name it scene, and then I'm gonna click on it and open in Prototypo. Since I use a recognized name, it has already seen my my variant. It's a bit too thin for me. That's fine. All right. So right now, what I see is okay. I think there's some problem on the D because there's too much contrast and the A is not that good, and we'll see for the serif after we made some modification. So I'm gonna go on the D and change the thickness. So I'm gonna go back and change the distribution. Apparently it doesn't do anything. Okay. And now for the A. Not super happy with the shape, so I'm gonna go ahead and make this higher. Maybe change that. Okay. Change those bits. It's not so good. Right there is fine. Maybe second that a bit. I think that's way better right now. So I'm gonna go on the H and remove a bit of the contrast. Maybe it's just, I don't know. So we're gonna go to the parameters right now and change the serif height, I think, to make it thinner. Maybe change the width a bit thinner too. And I'm gonna add just I'm gonna remove a bit of median. Serif median is what controls the shape of the serif, if it's wider or narrower at the end than it is at the beginning against the stem. So I'm gonna just remove it a tiny bit, and I'm gonna go to my serif group because right now it doesn't look so good. I'm gonna select the S and try to fix that. So I think I'm gonna add a bit of serif weights and add a bit of height and remove a bit of bracket cap. So I think we're good. I'm gonna make it a bit smaller, and I'm pretty happy with it. So I think we're gonna go ahead and create our bold variant. We're gonna select the webinar regular and type bold. Click on webinar bold and open in Prototypo. So we're gonna start by adding some thickness to it, and I think I'm fine with that. We're gonna already change the shape of the serif, add some eyes. Right, we're gonna go to the serif group because they look not so good again. I'm gonna make them a little bit shorter, a little bit wider, and remove no. It's fine. Alright. I'm gonna go on the E and the A and the S to change the aperture. I could try doing it with the parameter first. It seems okay on some letters, but now I have to change the serif again. So now with there. But on the E, on this part, I'm not quite happy with it, so I'm gonna go ahead and change that. I'm gonna lower to make it a bit of a bigger contour shape inside the E. So right now I think maybe I could try to change the shape of the A a little bit, like that, and maybe it's much better right there, and right there. And I think that's pretty okay. Maybe the rest could use a little bit more work. That's could always put more work in your font. I think. So we just say we are happy with it. Now we're gonna work on the spacing. So to use the spacing tool, you just have to go to the world view, the top one, and if you click on a glyph, you'll see two green lines on each side. It's just the spacing, the right side bearing and left side bearing, and it's the right side limit of the ladder and the left side limit of the ladder. So you can change that, and it will change how the ladder is spaced with the previous and next ladder. So I'm gonna make I could also use the settings spacing to make everything tighter on this one, but I want also to remove some spacing on the W, not that much, but a bit. And I want to add some to the C. I'm gonna add to the S. What you're looking for is just having a good reason for your font, and you can check also in the world view. Just so that on the H, the two serifs are touching, so we just go ahead and create a new group. It's already in there. So we remove it from this and create a new group. And put edit. So change the sender height again. Could look the value in the undergroup, but whatever. And change the serif width a bit. Right now, radius is fine. So I think we're pretty good. Maybe the L a little bit tighter. And I think we're done on the 3 variant. So after that, you can always check if you like what you've done by going on the second breadcrumb and clicking on your variant name. So you can check the consistency and different stuff. I think I'm quite happy with that, so I'll just go ahead and export my font. So for export, you have several options. The first one is export font, which will just export your font ready to use. So I can rename it and you can also export font as, it will just change the name of the family and the name of the variant inside the font file. You can export the source file. The source file is not really ready to use. You'd have to
to work on it using font software like FontForge or stuff like that. To merge, because I'm gonna try to show you using FontForge. So this is the font merged, and if I open the unmerged one, so on the left is a merged and optimized one. So you can see the blue area is the hinting done by our server, and on the right is unmerged glyph. You can see it's composed of several contours that if I remove it, it's not removing everything, but on this one there's only 2 contours because there's a contour shape in the P. And so this is more ready to use font than the right one. So if you want to use it directly, you should always use export font. If you use export source file, you have to use FontForge or another font software to merge your glyphs. You can see export to Glyph Studio, which is a web-based font software. And it will open your font directly into Glyph. And there you can do everything you do in a font software. So displace your font, change on curve position, off curve position. Basically everything you'd want to do in a font software. So I guess that's it for the webinar. If you want to ask question, you can always write now, and you can also ask question on the website, on the application, directly into our chat system, which is in the lower right corner. So thank you.